and mallet, one man in the ring. It's your MC for tonight, Mike Goodall.
Rodolfo, Marin. Please welcome back into the arena, Britain's very own Bruno! by the British Boxing Board control are the steward in charge, Mr. Charles Giles, the timekeeper, Mr. Roger Bowden from Bristol, and the referee in charge of the action this evening, Mr. John Coyle from Wolverhampton. My lords, ladies and gentlemen, Saturday night is Big Fight Night, live on ITV. And we welcome viewers throughout the ITV network to the Royal Bath and West Showground at Shepton Mallet in the heart of the West Country. To tonight's main event, sponsored by Empress Car Sales and promoted by Frank Warren for Sports Network in association with Chris Gallagher, who have proudly present an international heavyweight contest of 10 3-minute rounds between introducing the boxers in the red corner, wearing the white trunks and fighting from Bayamon in Puerto Rico. He comes to the ring tonight with a 23-fight record of 20 wins, 3 losses, 16 wins by KO. He weighed in today at 16 stone, 9 3/4 pounds. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please welcome to Britain, Rodolfo Marin. And in the blue corner, ladies and gentlemen, wearing the red and grey trunks, from London, he has a professional record of 41 contests, 37 wins, 4 losses, 36 wins coming by way of KO. He weighed in today at 17 stone, 8 3/4 pounds. He is the former ABA champion and was the former undefeated European heavyweight champion and 3 times world challenger. Ladies and gentlemen, Frank Bruno.
Is back. Let's see how he does with your big fight commentators, Jim Watt. And first of all, a very good evening to Reggie Guthridge.
Yes, Jim, the appropriate site this on an agricultural showground for this beef trust show. Only 1 round, remember, in the last 6 months, and Bruno might be just got a bit ring rusty. But as always, he's as physically mean as a butcher's dog, really, muscles on his ears. He's calling it his last chance saloon and Custer's last stand. I bet he thinks Don King had to stand right next to it. Well, it all depends really on the strength or lack of it with the Puerto Rican. But the American thick-ear traders, well, they say Marin doesn't fall over, he needs knocking over. Jim Watt and I have seen him in preliminary bouts, and Jim Watt seems to remember him more than I do on 2 Titan shows. We'll talk about that later on. But don't blink and put the kettle on, because Bruno's had 12 first-round knockouts. But I agree with the general opinion in the States that this fellow is a wary type of fighter, and he'll need knocking over. Doubtfully he'll fall.
Bruno. Well, that punch seemed to land in the temple. It was a decent punch, Reg.
Yeah, that one wasn't, Jim. He missed by a mile with that. It's a little bit wild.
Already Bruno's jab's giving him some trouble.
Yeah, he just turned that into a left hook. This fella's not going to come up, Jim. He's not going to make it. Well, I'll make that about 60 seconds and a lot of fuss. And he's done it again, Bruno. Now, the trouble was, Jim, you'd seen him before on some Tyson bills. What do you remember about Marin?
I remember he was a decent fighter, well schooled, but he didn't do anything particularly well. He's obviously come over here at the tail end of a career. He never got a world title shot. He knows he's probably never going to get one. He's come over here for the payday, but I've got to say, Reg, a little bit disappointed. Okay, he got hit with a couple of decent shots, but those punches were not knockout punches. As he landed on the floor for the finishing punch, he was rubbing his eye as though he was feeling a little bit of discomfort, but in no way was he knocked out. He decided not to come back up again. Okay, the way it looked, Bruno was going to knock him out anyway, but we'll have to say a little bit disappointed in his lack of appetite.
Yeah, well, heavyweight fights, we know there's loads of one-rounders over the years, Jim, but we were hoping his last fight, remember, also ended in a very heavily criticised fight with Jesse Ferguson in Birmingham, and I would have thought even old Frank would have wanted to go a few rounds more, but he doesn't know how to pull punches. He unloads a little bit, but as you say, I didn't like the way he was sort of protecting his eyes. Let's have a look at it again.
Well, Bruno's jab was working well right from the first bell. He got through with a couple of, and he really has a powerful jab that can sicken opponents, but it shouldn't sicken you after a couple. And that was a punch that landed a little bit high. There was a fair bit of power in the punch. It caught him high in the head, but not a knockout punch. He got back up again, as you can see, in decent shape. Bruno let go with a left hook, which again was a half-decent punch. No, that was at the right hand again, causing the first knockdown there.
The first knockdown, yeah.
Not in any great deal of discomfort there. Decent punch, knocked him off balance. Again, a good jab. The jab worked well for the few seconds the fight lasted, and then he seemed to come round. It looked like a left hook. And just a jolting hook, but no way, Reg, was that a knockout punch. He's looking down here, he knows exactly where he is, and he's decided he's where he wants to be.
Yeah, he came here and talked a good fight, Marin, I must say. And I thought he might go a few rounds, but, you know, you can never see him really winning the fight. But
that was a jolting punch, that one, Reg, but no way a knockout punch. Marin found himself on the floor and really decided to stay there.
Frank will say, well, that was quicker than Riddick Bowe could do with this fella. So as we watch there, just the final punches.
I mean, once again, Big Frank did his job, so you can't fault Big Frank, but unfortunately the opponent failed to do his.
So it's goodbye Harry and come in Gary.
Just hope that Frank remembers it's Gary and not Harry.
Yeah, Harry's at home, I think.
Now, Jim Watt has just said, you won't have heard this, Frank, that you did your job. It's not your fault that the opponent didn't do his. He was a poor opponent.
It's difficult to say he was a poor opponent because he took Joe Hip 10 rounds, about 2 months ago. Yeah, and I thought he won against Joe Hip, so I don't think he was a poor opponent. I didn't give him a chance to be a good opponent. I hit him with a jab, and I was catching with left hooks and right hand, so I don't think he was a poor opponent. If you was in there taking the punches, you know what I mean, I don't think you'd be saying the same thing, or Jim Watt would be saying the same thing, but it's all right for him to sit down there and criticise.
Yeah. We're not criticising you, Frank, and it's not our job to be fighters.
Opponent, because look at his record and see that Joe Hip is rated number 3 by the WBC, so don't you know what I mean, slag him down.
No, but you'll understand our viewers. Looking forward to seeing you. You look brilliant. You're top of the form, and they see an opponent go down so quickly.
Yeah, but with the power I've got in my hands, I'm weighing the heaviest I've ever weighed. You know what I mean? And I don't think he came over here. He's got a little bit of pride. You know, I don't think he came here to sit down. But he was tasting the jabs, and he weren't no phony punches what hit him. They were hard, solid, good punches. You can see by him he's still shaking. You know.
Okay, well let's explain to us about how hard these punches were, Frank.
No problem. I was trying to feed my way in. Yeah. I was trying to feed my way in. That's a good jab on the side of the head there. That was the top of the head. Top of the head. And he went down.
This is the last one.
Yeah.
Now, while we're talking, unfortunately, the crowd are all singing, "What a load of rubbish, Frank."
Yeah, it's easy.
About him, it says Marin's leaving the ring.
No, I've just let Frank finish, sorry.
Yeah, well, you know what I mean, I don't think they're shouting at me, I think they're shouting at Marin, but, you know what I mean, I'm going there to train for 10 hard rounds. If it comes to the bonus, you know.
Do you wish you'd gone longer yourself?
To be quite honest, it would have been nice for me to go longer, but I've done 150 rounds, you know what I mean, in Lanzarote at Club de Zanta with 3 different sparring partners. So, you know, I've got a world title fight coming up hopefully in the summer, so, you know, I don't want no mistakes to happen.
Last question before I talk to your new promoter. I mean, obviously, the sooner we can get Oliver McCall on, the better.
Very, very much so. I can't wait for that fight, you know. I didn't want nothing slipping up tonight, and I had to go in there and do a good number. I see him fight Joe Hip, who's rated number 3, and I thought he beat him, so I couldn't mess around because he comes stronger later rounds, Gary.
All right, Frank. Hope it's longer next time. Thank you.
Cheers.